Welcome to my channel. Thank you for taking your valuable time to watch this video. I have entitled it, The Great Prophetic Clock. It pertains to the people and land of Israel. You shall count 7 weeks of years, 7 times 7 years, so that the time of the 7 weeks of years shall give you 49 years. Then you shall sound the loud trumpet on the 10th day of the 7th month. On the day of atonement you shall sound the trumpet throughout all your land, and you shall consecrate the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout the land to all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee for you, when each of you shall return to his property and each of you shall return to his clan. Leviticus 25, 8-10. The Torah confirms that a jubilee is composed of 7 weeks of 7, 49 years. The next year, 50th, is a sabbatical year and begins the next 7 sevens. 70 weeks are decreed about your people and your holy city, to finish the transgression, to put an end to sin, and to atone for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal both vision and prophet, and to anoint a most holy place. Daniel 9:24. Not only does this prophecy deal with the rebuilding of Jerusalem, the coming of Messiah, eternal atonement for sin and everlasting righteousness within 490 years, but also provides a macro framework of 3,430 years for the promised land itself. Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, when you come into the land that I give you, the land shall keep a Sabbath to the Lord. For 6 years you shall sow your field, and for 6 years you shall prune your vineyard and gather in its fruits. But in the 7th year there shall be a Sabbath of solemn rest for the land, a Sabbath to the Lord. You shall not sow your field or prune your vineyard. Leviticus 25, 2-4. The macro clock started when the people of Israel came into the land God gave them. They began 6 years of sowing and reaping, and then the first sabbatical year occurred. But when was that? In the 480th year after the people of Israel came out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month of Ziv, which is the 2nd month, he began to build the house of the Lord. 1 Kings 6:1. History records that Solomon began building the temple in 967 BC using inclusive counting, the Hebrew counting method. 480 years back from 967 BC, we get to 1446 BC as the year of Exodus from Egypt. Then 40 years wandering in the wilderness progresses to 1407 or 1406 BC as written in Numbers 14:33-34 and Joshua chapters 3 and 4. The promised land is observed by the spies and battles ensue to take the land. Then the people of Judah came to Joshua at Gilgal, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite said to him, You know what the Lord said to Moses the man of God in Kadesh Barnea concerning you and me. I was 40 years old when Moses the servant of the Lord sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land, and I brought him word again as it was in my heart. But my brothers who went up with me made the heart of the people melt, yet I wholly followed the Lord my God. And Moses swore on that day, saying, Surely the land on which your foot has trodden shall be an inheritance for you and your children forever, because you have wholly followed the Lord my God. And now, behold, the Lord has kept me alive, just as he said, these 45 years since the time that the Lord spoke this word to Moses, while Israel walked in the wilderness. And now, behold, I am this day 85 years old. Joshua 14:6-10. Joshua and Caleb were sent by Moses to spy the promised land. When Caleb was 40 years old he received Hebron, as promised by Moses, as his inheritance in the promised land. Caleb begins sowing and reaping his land for 6 years, arriving at 1400 BC to start the sabbatical and jubilee clock. The clock started ticking in 1400 BC, 6 years of sowing and reaping, then the Sabbath year, 70 jubilees, 7 times 7 equals 49, were appointed to Israel. 70 times 49 equals 3,430 years. This clock has never paused or stopped. 3430, 1400, plus 1 equals 2031. Inclusive counting. The clock will stop in 2031 AD. Tishri 10, 5792, specifically, on the Day of Atonement, to atone for sin. The next feast, Sukkot, Booth's Tabernacles, to bring in everlasting righteousness and anoint a most holy place, God with us. Revelation 21, 3. The modern Jewish calendar has long been calculated rather than by observing the new moon. This is an example for the Gregorian year of 2031 with the Day of Atonement circled. Then I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse. The one sitting on it is called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he judges and makes war. His eyes are like a flame of fire, and on his head are many diadems, and he has a name written that no one knows but himself. He is clothed in a robe dipped in blood, and the name by which he is called is the Word of God. And the armies of heaven, arrayed in fine linen, white and pure, were following him on white horses. From his mouth comes a sharp sword with which to strike down the nations, and he will rule them with a rod of iron. He will tread the winepress of the fury of the wrath of God the Almighty. Revelation 19, 11-15. The Feast of Tabernacles begins on the 17th day of the 7th month Tishri. The 7 days between the Day of Atonement and Tabernacles are known to the Jews as the 7 days of awe. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them as their God. Revelation 21, 1-3. At this point, you may have a question. What about the rapture of the church? When he opened the sixth seal, I looked, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth. The full moon became like blood, and the stars of the sky fell to the earth as the fig tree sheds its winter fruit when shaken by a gale. The sky vanished like a scroll that is being rolled up, and every mountain and island was removed from its place. Then the kings of the earth and the great ones and the generals and the rich and the powerful, and every one, slave and free, hid themselves in the caves and among the rocks of the mountains, calling to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us and hide us from the face of him who is seated on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of their wrath has come, and who can stand? Revelation 6:12-17. The coming of the Son of Man. Immediately after the tribulation of those days the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then will appear in heaven the sign of the Son of Man, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Matthew 24:29-31. The harvest of the earth. Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and seated on the cloud one like a son of man, with a golden crown on his head, and a sharp sickle in his hand. And another angel came out of the temple, calling with a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, Put in your sickle, and reap, for the hour to reap has come, for the harvest of the earth is fully ripe. So he who sat on the cloud swung his sickle across the earth, and the earth was reaped. Revelation 14:14-16. But concerning that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only. For as were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Matthew 24:36-37. This table summarizes the clock. Our anchor dates are the Exodus and the start of the temple building. From there, we determined the beginning of sowing and reaping to initiate the sabbatical and jubilee cycles. to arrive at the year-ending 70 Jubilees, 2031. "2031 is sooner than you think. His coming on the clouds is even sooner.